Star Wars Geek Girls. They're geek girls that like Star Wars. And sometimes cry.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Star Wars Geek Girl. I'm Zoe, and as usual, I'm here with Lizzy.
Hello.
And we are finally going to get to talk about the last 6 episodes of Andor. So, episodes 7 through 12, 2 arcs. And also, I guess, just kind of our thoughts on the season and the series as a whole. So, Lizzy, what are your spoiler free thoughts?
Spoiler free, just that this show is still amazing, is always amazing. These 3 episodes are amazing. The ending was amazing. I really liked it. Just like I'm trying to think of a spoiler free thing. No, I don't know. I just really love these characters that they give us, or like even though it's the same characters, just seeing them go through these different events and how they react to it and how each person reacts to it. I like seeing.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think this is still my favorite of the live action series. And I think episodes 8 through 10, so not 7 through 9. I mean, I love that too, but episodes 8 through 10, I think are my favorite run of episodes in the entire series. Um, and I liked a lot of what they did with this show, with like tying together like all these plot lines and a lot of great character work. I do, and I think I said this when we talked about episodes 4 through 6. I do feel like, as much as I think this second season had a lot of really high highs that to me exceeded season one, I do think as a season of TV, I think season one is notably stronger. But I still really liked this show and how they tied everything in together within the show itself, and also to Rogue One, where obviously this show was always leading.
I really liked season 2. I think I like season 2 better than the season 1.
I feel like the character work in season one is much stronger
Mm.
than season two. I think season two dropped the ball on a couple of characters. I also think season two leaned into a bad habit of season one, which we can get into a little later. But I
Okay.
still love season two. I think it's phenomenal. And I think, like I said, like I think the Gorman arc and episodes is my favorite arc of the whole show. Episodes 8 through 10 are my favorite episodes of the whole show. But I think like as a season as a whole, I think season one for me worked better personally.
Gotcha.
But yeah. So now we can talk spoilers. We'll start, I guess, with the Gorman arc, episodes 7 through 9. And that was insane. That was crazy. I think that was my favorite like arc of the show. Of the entire show
Interesting.
was the Gorman arc.
Yeah, it was
I know for some
horrifying.
people, One Way Out was still better, and I respect that. But this just tied so many things together from the whole season and the whole series, and
Mhm.
it was horrifying. um, with everything. And I loved what they did with Cyril. And if some people wanted him to like get worse, I know some people wanted him to like have his redemption and join the rebellion.
Mhm.
But I love this for him. I love when Cassian hit him with that "Who are you?"
Yeah.
And Kyle Sully's performance was incredible. Um, with this character, and especially those final moments.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, can you imagine this person that you've been looking for years and years and like suddenly here they are and they don't even remember you?
yeah, and it's not even like it's not even a case of like Cyril was hunting Cassian and obsessed with him but never met Cassian. They met in episode 3 of the show. It's just that Cyril's so insignificant to Cassian and his
Yeah.
story. It's so good. Um, yeah, it's
Yeah,
phenomenal.
I was saying that it was like Crimson Corsair because like in that story he's being chased by this pirate and the pirate like gets up to him, he's like, I've been searching for you for years and like you're my number one enemy. We're enemies and and Crimson Corsair doesn't talk, but he just kind of like shrugs and it's just like he didn't even know him.
Yeah, it was so good. It was I do the it was so cool because I mean this is what the show is building up to. Like we've known since Rebels that there was a Gorman massacre, and that's why Mothma left the Senate. Um, and so it was building up to that. Uh,
Yeah.
from the beginning, if you go back and watch like see episode like 4 of season 1, they're already talking about Gorman. Mothma's already bringing up Gorman. Um, which is so good. Like such a so I love when things can like be planned far ahead and you drop these little like hints throughout the show.
Yeah.
Um and it
I really
was
liked seeing the Gorman massacre. Like, obviously, that sounds horrible, but
I just
like,
love massacres.
yeah, I love them. They're my favorite. Um, I just liked that it was something that looked like it could just happen here. Or like it
Mhm.
totally has happened here. But
Yeah.
like in with Star Wars, it's always not always, I will say, not always, but it's always like, oh, like there's a massacre or these aliens are slaves and it's always an alien or something that doesn't look human.
Mhm.
Um so, and obviously that's not all the time, but like it's most of the time. But for this one, it's just purely like humans. Like it's just the
Mhm.
race of Gorman, and it's just humans getting shot at, uh, by more humans.
Yeah, and I think that also does like it makes you feel more grounded and also within Andor doesn't really get into it, but within like the grander narrative of Star Wars, I think it plays a big role in the like political allegory too, because like if Gorman takes place in season 3 of Rebels. We're a couple years away from New Hope at this point. At this point, the Empire's done like a lot of genocides. Like they
Yes.
kicked things off with the genocide of the Jedi, which was human but also largely alien as a culture.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Lasan or the Lasat on Lasan, that genocide, the Geonosians. And it was always like, because sometimes, not always, but there's a lot of times in Star Wars, especially extracurricular material, using aliens as like an allegory for like discrimination.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's really notable that like at this point we've had all these genocides happen, and it was the one of humans, and especially the Gorman. They're based heavily on French revolutionaries, mostly white humans. Um, and that's the genocide that causes the stir in the Senate and gets everyone talking. You know,
Yeah.
and so that and I don't really get into that as much, but it's like as part of the grander narrative of Star Wars. Interesting too, which I also think shows the strength of Andor is that it exists purely on its own. I think you could watch Andor without watching any other Star Wars and still appreciate and enjoy it, but also like it does tie really well into the broader narrative and the broader themes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's just honestly, I think a big part of why I liked the Gorman massacre. It's just like, very much, it just feels real. It's definitely something that could happen, and I like that now because, well, it's not just because of this, but it's better to me because a lot of normies are watching Andor that like it's here for everyone to see. It's not just Star Wars fans. Like it's not Rebels where it's mostly just Star Wars fans looking at Rebels and watching Rebels. It's everyone that barely even knows Star Wars is watching it too
Mm-hmm.
because of season 1 and how good that was and now season 2. Um so yeah, I really like that and just I loved like his Cyril's like anger towards Dedra. Like I was so surprised that he was like choking her.
Yeah, that was
That
crazy.
scared me.
And it's interesting too because she is a horrible, terrible human being.
Yes.
Um, so it's really interesting, and we saw this a lot with season one and in season two as well. Is like, like she is this character who's taking part in all these terrible things. She's putting everything on the line to like try and advance. And yet like she is still so frequently like victimized by the men around her, even when she is like on paper more powerful than them. Sometimes, not always, but so that's interesting too, is because she gets, and we see in the finale arc too, she gets like manhandled a
Yeah.
lot in a way that we don't see other characters of her stature be. And so it's really interesting that despite that, she's still trying to fit in. Like she never, it's not a moment of reflection for her where she's like, maybe I don't want to hang out with these people. Like it's always just like she's kind of deluded into thinking like, if I just like do the next thing right, if I do this better, if I do another terrible thing, like then they won't do that anymore. And she never escapes that. And I think that's an interesting part of her character and her arc, where she's like a terrible person, frankly deserved everything she got. Um, but like this, I don't know, it's a cool layer to her character that they've added.
Yeah. I like we're talking about all of it, right?
Yeah, I mean we're
Okay.
starting with Gore, but we can kind of talk about all of it as well.
Well, I just meant like just throughout this, like you said, like you could do everything right and then mess up just once in like the Empire, and you're done for. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. It's a lot like, and I was thinking about this the other day, and I was like, wow, my brain's so big. It wasn't that big, but it was just like, Dedra doing all these things, and her catching Luthen and stuff like that. Like, it was on the guy's day off, and it was like not her project anymore, but she got the guy.
Mhm.
And then Andor, he just leaves the rebellion like multiple times without permission, and they're always like, "Man, I'm gonna get you in trouble." Like, his I don't know, I forgot his name.
Draven.
Huh?
Draven. You're talking about
Yes,
Draven.
yeah, I think so. And he's like, I'm gonna get him in trouble. And he comes back and he has Mon Mothma.
Mhm.
And they're like, you know what, yeah, it's all right, like we'll just say like, you were just taking it on a test drive, it's fine. So it's like so interesting how, like, Cassian gets something done, and it's okay, like he's not gonna get killed or put in
Mhm.
rebellion jail, but this girl does try to keep doing good things for the Empire. Well, not good things, but you know what I mean. And it's just,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter. It does not matter.
Right. And it's, yeah, because you'd think like that, like you talk about the rebels and casting, like that level of ambition would be like rewarded, like, you know, if you get the results, but it's it's not. um
No.
and it's super fascinating. Yeah, I think Daedra's an interesting character. I did feel um an amount of glee when she was in the Narkina 5 prison uniform.
Well, yeah, I liked her and Krennic's thing, because Krennic was like,
He's such a freak.
he
He's
he's
such a little weirdo.
he's
I
so
like, I was a
weird.
terrible person, whatever. I loved him in this show. He was so funny.
He was like grabbing her
Well, he like put his
head and
finger on
like,
her. Why did he he's crazy. He's so Ben Mendelsohn he's so good, and he's so good as Krennic. And I'm so glad we were able to have him back in this show.
it was just strange, but I mean, I loved it. And then the fact that she had all this information and she just never turned it in. Like, if it was
Mhm.
me, right, and I knew the Empire was crazy, or I guess maybe I don't even
But she
know.
doesn't. She still
That's the
believes in the
thing.
empire as order and
Yeah.
rewarding ambition. That's what she thinks of it, and
But
that's
still,
not
even
what
if
it
it
is.
was a regular job and I got that random information, I would like, I would definitely read it, but then I'd be like, "Oh yeah, here you go. I just found this. You guys sent this." Also, they like what just CC'd someone on
They
accident
CC'd her
with
by
like,
accident, which is so funny.
like how?
Oh yeah, but I mean, you think of it like she, even though it's not technically her project, she's has this like obsession with Axis and finding him, and she's not being kept in the loop on stuff. And that's also it also shows like that the way the Empire operates, and we saw it in season 1 too, the way the Empire operates is sometimes antithetical to its goals, right? Like
Mhm.
they were hunting Cassian Andor when he was in one of their prisons,
Yeah.
like for a long time. I mean, probably not that long, but like for a little while. And same thing here is like she's hunting Axis, and the other guy is hunting Axis, but because they, there's all these secrets being kept and things are blocked off, like no one's able to get the full picture to find it. Which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting how the Empire just works. It's like I don't know, like it just
Well,
I don't know.
it goes back to
It's
what
strange.
I don't know, it goes back to what Nemec said in his manifesto, right? Like this need
Mhm.
for control, it's unnatural. Like and once you start getting like too big, it's you start to lose that control because it's not natural, and you have all these different sections, all these things working together, and if you can't keep a tight grip on it, like you have to be a little bit looser. Like as much as
Mhm.
we talk about like the Republic that preceded the Empire, as much as it had a lot of problems, especially towards the end. The reason that the Republic lasted for thousands of years and the Empire lasted for like less than 30 is because the Republic wasn't in control. They didn't even have a real military until the Clone Wars.
Mhm.
Like it was all their, every planet had their own military, their own thing going on. It was just like the Senate and the trade and stuff. Like that was mostly the Republic. And again, not a perfect government by any means, but like the reason it lasted because it wasn't trying to control people. It wasn't, coming down with the hammer on anybody. Versus the Empire, that's like you're doing something annoying, bring in the
Die.
army. um, and it's unnatural. Um, people don't people don't work that way with that kind of control.
Yeah. Um I really liked seeing Luthen and Clea in
Yeah.
these like
Yeah, I
episodes.
mean,
It's just
episode 10 was
sad.
just them. Like Cassian,
Mhm.
Mon, like no one else was in that episode. It was just Luthen and Clea. And I love that relationship. It reminded me so much of Saw and Jin. It reminded me so much of them.
Yeah.
I really wish Clea and Jin got to meet. Because
I just I liked like obviously it is kind of a father-daughter thing, but
mhm,
it's also very much not. It's very much just like this it's just a relationship, you know?
mhm. I
Like
think like Elizabeth Dulau, uh she said it was like, like there's a love that grows there, but there's also this kind of undercurrent of um the fact that like she can never forgive him for playing that part when he was in the Empire, for playing that part in what happened to her people.
yeah.
And that's always there as well, even if there's a love that grows despite it. And it's really interesting and adds so much flavor to the relationship. Because we didn't see like Clay wasn't in season 1 terribly much. But we could get a sense that she was somewhat of like a mastermind in this operation, and she's handling all the communications and everything. And we see a bit more of her in season 2, and I love getting to get into that backstory between them, and especially like seeing her as the one who kind of pushes him into caring more, but also he's the one that pushes her into like the kind of ruthlessness of it, and that kind of symbiotic relationship that builds them both into who they need to be to do
Mhm.
this. Um, Really fascinating. Like I said, it reminded me a lot of Saw and Jin. Also reminded me a lot of Marva and Cassian, like how they started out. at least as well.
Yeah, I just sorry, my brain farted. I just oh, my brain farted. Keep going. Hold on.
No, I mean that was really it. Sorry, I'm like turning off fans so my thing's not super windy. I mean that was really it for me, like that. And then I think like I was talking about this with like one of my friends. I was talking about how like even though there's no Jedi in Andor, the the themes that the Jedi represent and their beliefs and their philosophy is so present in Andor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that shows especially in episode 10 in a very obvious way, at least. I don't know especially, but in a very obvious way in episode 10 with Cassian and Luthen, right? Like she breaks into the hospital to kill him, as much as it hurts her. And I thought that really tender moment with her and him when he was laying there was phenomenal.
Yeah. I
But
like
it's that, you know,
he
it's
trained
that
her
love.
so well.
Yeah, but it's, I mean, it's like a like talking about the Jedi, like it's like that idea of loving without attachment, right? You love somebody and you care for them, but you cannot let your fear of losing them let your feelings get in the way of what needs to be done. And that
Mhm.
was really present in that episode, because there's frankly, like if she had just wanted to save him, she wasn't getting out of there. As phenomenal as she was, her own little team of 3, I don't think she would have been getting him out of there alive. So it was just really well done.
Yeah, I like you said, I liked that. I liked just seeing their relationship grow and then seeing I also like this is like kind of not serious, but I like seeing them like get richer. That was it's like that's
Yeah,
like
it
me in
is.
a video game when I like have like really bad like armor and then like I'm selling a bunch of stuff and I just slowly get richer.
It's cool too because
Um
I just assumed he was like a rich guy, like already. But he, you know, truly, we love a self-made small business owner. Like
yeah,
he
I
start,
like that it was just like what that was what he was always doing too. It wasn't like,
yeah.
oh, he picked it up like a year later or something. It was
Mhm.
like just something that he was constantly doing.
Yeah.
Um
And it's cool too because I think it adds a like because I think a lot of people, honestly myself included, assumed like the antique shop was like something of like a front and not really something he cared about. Like maybe he, you know, just kind of inherited it or happened to do it. But it was kind of like a cool dimension to his character as well, that he is just actually passionate about
yeah.
antiques and history and like that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. And I think it reflects a lot of what this show is as well. Like Tony Gilroy is frankly a historian. Like he's really, you know, interested and passionate about real world history, and that informed Andor. And so it's cool to have a character who's really invested
Mhm.
in fake world history.
Yeah, yeah, that was cool. I wasn't I was surprised when he like stabs himself.
That was
I
awesome. No,
thought
as soon as he was like, "This is a bleeder," I was like, "Oh, you're gonna stab yourself, aren't you?"
well, I thought he was gonna kill her and then kill himself. Like I was like, oh, he's gonna kill himself. But I didn't think he was gonna take himself out first. I don't know. That's yeah, but that was horrifying. Especially because he just like turns around
Crazy.
and it's just blood, and I'm like, what
That's a
the
crazy amount of
hell?
willpower. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
What did you
that's
think about Lonnie and like him killing Lonnie?
poor Lonnie. I mean, it was poor
Would you
Lonnie.
have done it? Would you have done it?
I I don't know. I mean, I didn't think it was a bad thing. Like sucks for Lonnie, sucks for he's like a daughter, I think he said. Sucks for him and
Yeah,
his family.
his wife.
Rest
Yeah,
in peace, Lonnie. You're a real one. You're the reason we found out about the Death Star. You're so
yeah,
real. Um Also like I get it though. Like I think it was a good choice. I don't know. I think it was a good choice to
yeah.
for him
I mean,
to
I
do
think
it.
so too. It's just like fuck, you know.
Yeah.
Especially because they didn't show it. They just were like, there's a guy walking his Tuca cat.
mhm.
And then it's there. I was like, oh, oops.
Yeah.
Whoopsies.
Poor Lonnie. But also, like, it is, as much as it's like, yeah, sucks for Lonnie and his wife and daughter. I will say, now the Empire, like, the Empire now doesn't realize he's necessarily a mole, right?
Yeah.
They think he's a victim of assassination, which means now they're probably gonna
Well, I think they
not
do know
harm
he's
his
a
wife and
mole,
daughter.
right? Because like he still broke into her thing.
Well, no, they thought he was. I think they thought he was like assassinated. That's how they talked about him, at least. Maybe it was like a cover, but
Okay.
they never said like, "Oh, Lonnie revealed our intel and stuff."
Yeah, fair enough.
Because it
Yeah,
was
that was rough though.
yeah, poor Lonnie, poor guy.
Clea Slade.
She did team
and
of 3.
then she's going to Cassian, which I was so worried. Because she had gone through all this stuff just to get to Cassian and say like, like Galen, this Death Star,
Yeah,
and
once she told Cassian, I was like, "Oh no, is she gonna die now that
yeah, I
Cassian
was
knows?"
also thinking that she was either gonna die or she was. I thought they just weren't gonna believe her. I don't know why. I was just like really, really worried.
Yeah.
Especially because she was saying that she didn't want to go to Yavin. So I was like, oh, they're not gonna trust that because she's not even going over
we
there.
know they trust it. I mean, I knew they're gonna trust it because that's what they're going off of in Rogue One.
Oh yeah, of course. I just like I was trying to stay in the moment. I was like, oh, oh I wonder what's gonna happen. But yeah, no, I just like I thought, I loved Clea in this. And what else from this is just Dedra in jail. That's crazy.
Yeah, I loved the scene. I do have to talk about it. I loved the scene with Saw on the phone
Oh my god.
with the council, and I was like
Aw.
actually laughing because the whole time Mon Mothma's like, "Saw, we know you're Jedha. We think you're in danger," and like she's genuinely trying to help him. Like she is not beefing with him at all in that moment. She is actually trying to help because they've beefed before. We've all seen Rebels, but
Yes.
like she was like
Was this,
actually trying to help him. And she's like, "We know you're on Jeddah. Like, here's some information. Like, we think you're in trouble. Like, you might want to like." And he's not even responding to what she's saying. He's just like, "I'm not on Jeddah. You don't know where I am. I could be anywhere."
Oh my god.
It
Like,
was
okay.
so funny.
That happened. I was like, what is happening? What are you dumb? Like
It was so funny. But then the also funny part was they hang up, and Mon is like, "Why does he think we're spying on him? Like, I'm trying to help him." And Draven's like, "Well, we are spying on him." Guy, what are we doing?
I was gonna say, how would you know that he's on Jeddah if you're not spying? That was so funny, and there's been so many memes from that. It's interesting though, because I wonder why. Like I'm guessing just to keep Mon Mothma in the dark or try
Well, it
to.
seems like, and this is what you get from Rogue One too, is like it seems like Mon Mothma and Bail Organa and the other like leadership, like senators and stuff of the rebellion, have all these goals. And Mothma and Bail are definitely more, I feel like, heavily involved in stuff that we've seen. But then you have Draven, who's like, Mon and Bail aren't gonna like this. Cassian, go kill that guy. Like,
Yeah. I kind of wish there were
Um,
more like of those leaders on the like little round table they had, because it was like it felt like mostly senators, which is cool because they might know how to lead.
Tinra Pamela was there.
I hate whichever senator, the one with the hoodie, hate her. Cannot stand
That's
her.
Tinra Pamela. She's
Hate
so
her.
pretty.
Die.
So
She's
pretty,
gorgeous.
though.
Her outfit's amazing. Yes. Hate her. I don't know why. I was just like, you don't even know what you're doing. You're just a senator. Get out of here.
I was so excited to see her. I'm not gonna lie. I love her.
Hate
She's so.
her.
I mean, she sucks, but she's so
Hate her in
pretty.
both of them. She sucks
She
in
has a cool
both.
outfit. She's in Bad Batch. She's cool in Bad Batch. She stands up for the clones.
I literally don't remember that, but
Yeah, she's in Bad Batch.
but I'm sure that's cool. Yeah, no, I hated her. But like I feel like there should be I don't know, and maybe it's just because the senators like um were senators, but like also and they only had that one guy. And
Yeah, I
then
mean, I
you
didn't get the
know
sense this was like a full rebellion meeting.
Oh
This is
yeah, of
just like
course.
because like when they have that full rebellion meeting in Rogue One, everyone's there. Like
Yeah,
even
yeah,
like
yeah.
the foot soldiers are
That's
there.
fair. That's fair.
Versus, like I got the sense that this was more of a like they were like there to call Saw and be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
Saw, you're in
All right.
trouble," and then he's like, "You don't know where I am," even though they
Oh my
do.
god.
And then Cassian
funny.
walked in and started arguing with everybody.
That's fair. I kind of thought it would be more like a little meeting.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
maybe
why I
it
was like, I
was.
wish
I
there was
didn't.
a bit more like people who are actually going out there and fighting. But
Yeah, I just didn't get that sense only because there were so few of them there, and they were literally just
That's
calling
fair.
Saw, like
Yeah.
because every time we see like, oh, the whole rebellions meeting, like in Rogue One or New Hope and stuff, it's like a lot more people. This was like
Mhm.
5 people.
That's fair. But yeah, I just and then Cassian's there, and Cassian's like fighting for Luthen.
Yeah,
Because honestly, he is right. Like without like pretty much Luthen and Mon Mothma, that rebellion would have never come together. You know, like
yeah. I
Luthen.
don't
I
know.
feel
Cassian was. I wasn't entirely happy with him. Like he was right in the sense of, like they need to go rescue Clea, but I was also like, because like sure, without Luthen, you don't get there. You also don't get there without Bale. You also don't get there without Saw. You don't get there without Hera too. You know what I mean? Like I
oh
think
yeah,
that,
of
and I think
course.
like the theme of Andor is it all matters, right? Every little sacrifice, every person adds up to it. And of course, Cassian doesn't necessarily know all that, but I was like,
I
I don't
feel
know.
like I feel like he is trying to say that. I mean, because they're taking Luthen and just painting him as a bad guy and just kind of
Yeah, I mean that was
casting him away, I feel like. So I feel
well,
like
it
that's
wasn't
why
even.
Cassian was like, he is important, just like all
But I
of
don't
you are
think
important.
I didn't get the sense they were diminishing that importance. Like Bale never said like Luthen's useless. Like Bale said like we can't go to Coruscant. The Imperial Palace is there. Like we can't go there to save. Like you know what I mean. Like we can't risk. Like Bale's to me, Bale's concern was more like the risk of like going to
Oh yeah.
Coruscant because that's like the most dangerous place to go. That's where the Empire is.
Mm-hmm.
And because I don't think Cassie like they didn't seem to know anything about like any potential intel. Like Cassian was solely under the impression it was a rescue mission.
I feel like he was also just upset that it was just like, I mean, he even says like, once I have to like tell you where I'm going and tell like I have to get permission to leave, that's when I'm leaving. And then the guy's like, well, that's very soon, so you
Yeah,
know.
but also like, and also again though, I think that's all
No,
like I think that's also part of like what Luthen's saying when he says like to Clea like when I say do this, you do that because that's what you need in the rebellion. I think that was part of Last Jedi too. Is like if everyone just does their own thing, then you're not organized and you fail. That was the issue with
no,
Gorman
yeah.
too. And so I was like, Cassian, you're being very difficult, even if you're
I
right about some things.
I was gonna say I think he was in the right, but I also, me as a person, I do know that like yeah, you do have to have order to have a better government. Like it means you have to have a government, you
Yeah.
know.
I wasn't even
Um,
talking about government, just like in general, like if you
no,
want to
like with
fight.
people, with rebellions, with
Yeah.
organized groups that are trying to fight. Um, you know, it is a little strange that you have to tell them like where you're going and stuff, but it is a secret like thing, you know,
Yeah, like
you're
you
part
can't
of a
just go
huge
somewhere
secret.
and get tracked and stuff and like yeah.
Like if a crappy like if a not so good like rebel person like Cassian went out and then got tracked and came back, probably not great.
Mhm.
Um Thankfully Cassian knows what he's doing, but yeah, no, I totally understand, especially because it was just a rescue mission.
Mhm.
Um but also I'm glad that he just went anyway.
Obviously glad he did. It's
Yes.
interesting too. I think it's something Andor excels at is it's like everyone's right. You know what I mean? Like Draven's right that you can't just do what you want. Like if we want to be serious about this fight, we have to have order. And that's something I think Luthen would agree with him too. But also, like, Bale is right. Like, we can't just go to Coruscant. Are you crazy? Like, that's so dangerous. That's a huge risk to take for what we know just be a rescue mission for someone who basically told us they don't want anything to do with us. But also, Cassian's right. Like, we need to go help them because they've done a lot for us, you know?
Yeah.
Um, even if everyone's very frustrating, but they're also all right and they have a valid point.
My my dad was saying, and I don't remember his name, unfortunately, that was dumb of me. But the actor that plays Bale in
Benjamin Bratt.
this, yes. I wasn't thinking of anything of it. Like I didn't think Bale was at all like mean. I definitely think he was stern and like needed to say and do what he needed as a leader. Um but my dad had a slight worry that because it's a different Bale that they were like people now would paint this Bale as like bad and that just that actor as like mean as like the mean Bale. I don't know what I was just curious what you thought.
I haven't seen that. I mean, I didn't get that at all either from his performance. It's definitely the one of the more stern scenes we've seen of Bale.
Mm-hmm.
Um
I mean, hey, in the first scene that we see him, he's like partying and leaving a party.
yeah.
I
But
think he's okay.
I think that Benjamin Bratt, I think he nailed because I also like if you're a Bail Organa fan, and it's not just you, like everybody, he's phenomenal in so many of the books. Especially Leia, Princess of Alderaan, and Reign of the Empire, Mask of Fear, which is a very recent book. Phenomenal book. If you like Andor, read Reign of the Empire, Mask of Fear. I'm so serious. It's book Andor. It's so good. But
I
like
want to reread. God, what's it called? The one with Jin and she's growing up a saw.
Oh, Rebel Rising. I also want to
Mhm.
reread that too.
Just because it's so good, and also what you were saying. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Also, what you were saying about you know, like Clea and Luthen, and then with like Saw and Jin. It's just like I love those kind of relationships because it's like it's so complicated, you know? I love complicated relationships. Um and I love, you know, seeing Saw through this and then anytime I see Saw, I'm always thinking about where's Jin? Where's baby Jin? Right. Um so like obviously Jin is not there with him when he's like, you don't know where I am. You
No.
don't know. um but I love those kind of relationships, especially when it's like, you know, Clea even says like, "Am I your daughter now?" And he's like, "When it's useful." And I feel like it was the same with Jin and you know Saw, whereas like it is when it's useful. Like literally in the I love this one because it like reminds me of me and my dad because they're like it's a scene in the book where he's introducing kind of Jin to his little rebellion. And he's like, and they're like, why is she so white? He's like, I don't know, just that's just how this is how genetics work, I guess.
Yeah.
But this is my daughter. She's just very pale.
Yeah, I love the difference between those two relationships too is like Jin and Saw are both pretty volatile characters. Um and like obviously Jin, you know, she was still very little. But like we saw even in Clone Wars, like before Stila, before the you know the Empire, he was a character who was very fiery and passionate. Um and that can be a very very good thing, and I think for Saw it is a lot. It can also make relationships hard sometimes, and I think Jin like in a sense inherits that from him growing up, and so they become these really hot-headed characters. I love their clash in Rogue One. It's
They
so
also
good.
just trained their daughters so well.
Yeah, but then you compare that to Luthen and Clea, who are these passionate characters that get very angry. You don't do a rebellion if you're not passionate. And we see when when they have to go to that party, right? Because they have to go get their bug, and we see Luthen, you know, yell. Like we've seen Luthen yell
Crashing
before,
out.
but this was his like. I feel like we'd never seen him lose control like that before. Like he'd yelled and been angry and stern with someone, but it was always more of a like, you gotta listen to me way
Yeah.
versus like that scene where he's like freaking out. um
Yeah.
but we see like Clea is this very cool-headed character, and I think that makes a huge difference in
Which
their
did you
relationship.
watch the pirate movies? Like Pirates of the Caribbean?
I watched the first one.
I think he's in the first one. There's one character named Bootstrap Turner, and that's that's him, that's Skarsgård. And I don't know, it's like semi unrelated, but his voice in that movie is like how he makes it kind of like, I can't tell if that's his real voice. I don't really think it is. Um but how it sounds just reminds me so much of Luthen, because it's just like, I feel like what he did for that movie, that Pirates movie, is what he did for this. It was just so cool because I just kept seeing it in my head as this like fish guy from Pirates. But anyway, yeah, it's kind of cool. Um, but yeah, so I love Mothma just being chill. Like we already knew that she
I
was
love
chill.
people keep making fun of it on Twitter. I loved her little casual outfit at brunch with Vel.
Yes,
It looks so comfy,
and her like,
cozy.
yeah,
She's so
just
cute.
sitting down with all the everyone else at the cafeteria.
She's a real
Like,
one.
again, I we knew this from like
Lost
Lost
Stars.
Stars, because she's like carrying a drunk Thane around, and then he's like, this nice lady, and then she started, and then in the morning I saw her at the meeting and she was giving the meeting. um like, it's so sweet, and I was making fun of it a little bit because she is like this rich person. She's a senator. She's like so high class and blah blah blah. When Castian puts his jacket on her, I'm like, ew, 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 dirty,
It probably
dirty,
smells.
stinky. But like, she isn't like that,
Mhm.
It's just a funny thing in my head, but she isn't like that. She's not so, like, what's the word? Like, I don't know, like, uh what's the word? Like, just,
Kinda like
she's not,
pompous.
yeah, pompous. Yes. Um and I like that. I love that. That just makes it 10 times better. And I love, she's there with the rebellion, she's leading it.
Mhm.
Um and
And I think
Bale is cool.
it makes her a good leader too.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying like this in the sense of like the other people don't care, but she is consistently since Return of the Jedi, she has consistently been a character who cares about everybody, right? About and she's very pragmatic in a sense too, right? Like she's like, think practically and what will lead to the least amount of suffering. I mean, because you go back, like this woman, like I just put in perspective for all of us, we're talking about all the stuff on Mothma. This woman's entire character when she was created was that she stands in a room in Return of the Jedi and says, "Don't mess this mission up. A bunch of Bothans died to get this intel." And that's her entire character. That is where this comes from. And I
But
think that
even like that, right? Like,
exactly,
it's
I
just,
think that lives on, like that. The fact that that's what she comes from, like in the real world, is still so key to her character and who she is, right? Like she's when Cassian rescues her in frankly one of the best episodes of the show in episode 9 for
mhm.
me. Um like she every death like horrifies her, right? Like Cassian's shooting everybody and she's like, "Oh my god." And it's like kind of funny, right? But it also I think
I did make a meme about it. Yes.
it shows how important she is to the rebellion because you need your Luthans, you need your Saws, you need your people who are willing to do the hard thing, willing to sacrifice the pawn on the chessboard to get the king in the end.
Mhm.
But I feel like you also need someone like Mon Mothma. You also need someone who's going to feel every death that happens, right? And be horrified at the prospect that people are going to suffer and die because of choices that she makes. Like, I think you need someone to understand the weight of that. Like, you can't, I think you have like someone like Draven, and no shade against Draven, but like we don't, in the films and the TV shows, we don't see him out in the front lines, right? We see him being like, "Hey, Cassian, go shoot that guy,"
Yeah.
And Mon Mothma, and Draven's very like cavalier about it in a sense, even though we see like in Rogue One, Cassian talks about all these people who've had to do all these terrible things for their cause, and even though they don't necessarily regret it, it still haunts them. And you need to have someone like Mon Mothma who understands the weight of what you're asking, even if it shouldn't stop her from doing it if this is what needs to happen. But I think it's good for her to be the person who recognizes the toll that it takes on that person and on the galaxy every time a violent act is committed. I think it's a wonderful part of her character.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy with how she's been handled.
Well, it's also like, yeah, no, I mean, exactly. It's just like it's just, I made a meme and no one really liked it, but it's
I liked
okay.
it. It's funny.
It was literally just like, I'm trying to think. Oh, well, you could look at the Rogue Rebels Instagram and
There
see
you
that I
go.
posted it there. Boom. But no, I just even during her driver, Cassian's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, what's your driver's name?" He's like, Cloris, Clavis.
Cloris.
Yeah. He's like, Cloris, we got her. Good job. Amazing job, guy. He's like, huh? It shoots him.
Yeah.
Which, just saying, that guy was a creep. Obviously he was ISB, but it was just like, he stayed there the entire night for her.
I mean, that's his job.
I know, but it's like, but it's 10 times creepier when it's like ISB.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I would be so bored at that job. Like, if I was not ISB and I just was like, oh my god, like,
I hope
this
he has
is
a little like
the
space
equivalent of my
BS.
mother, because my mother will just stay at work. Like, she just she works and works and works, and lately she's been coming home like midnight. Like, she goes in super early, comes home midnight, and I'm like, man, mom, you're like Mothma for that one. I also am like trying to see where to find. It's okay, she doesn't. I don't know what episode she's on to listening to our episodes, but trying to find a place where I could find Mon Mothma looking clothes, because my mother adores, like, I adore her clothes, but my mother like wants them. Obviously for work, like, it's just, all of it's so beautiful. Like, the one
Yeah.
that I'm looking at right now, which is just, I think it's when she finds out that she's being planted. Actually, I think that's the same one, like, the entire thing. She just puts a different jacket on.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So if anyone sees clothes like that or knows where to get them, hit me up at the. Don't do it at the Rogue Rebels because my mom can see it. Do it at Star Wars Geek Girl.
Yes. We have a contact form on our website. You can fill that out. You can pass it along. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I also loved her speech. Really good speech, of course. There's one thing Andor can do, it's a speech. And I also, I don't know if you did this. You probably did. As soon as episode 9 ended, I immediately pulled up Secret Cargo from Rebels. I don't know if you did this also.
This was because I was at my parents' house, and it was my dad's birthday. Well, it was like a day after his birthday or something. No. It was on his birthday, but we didn't. I was waiting to watch the episodes with him. So went, and he was like, "Okay, it's time." And I honestly, I think I would have done it even if I was like here by myself, because I mean, I did that with Rogue One too. I was like, "All right,
Yeah.
it's all done. Rogue One time."
I immediately did Rogue One and then A New Hope that night.
Oh, you went all out.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really cool going to Secret Cargo because it does flow really well into Secret Cargo. It is funny because I really liked Erskine in Andor. It's like, oh, this guy's so fun. He's like a cool little assistant. I like him. And then he's like low key annoying in Rebels.
A little bit.
I was
Okay.
like,
But
okay.
I was so sad for him because like Mothma finds out he works with Luthen. And she gets so mad at him and yells at him. And I was like, and like sends him away, and he still like obviously that's his job, but he just cares about this woman, you know?
They're
And it's just like
besties.
so sweet. And then oh my god, I loved Cassian comes down, and it's first of all, we didn't really talk about this. It's not that important, but that ISB agent is dumb.
Yeah,
She's
I
so
was like,
stupid.
I mean, obviously I'm glad she failed, but I was
Yes.
like, why are you calling your boss, your ISB boss, within earshot of the people you're undercover trying to
That's what I'm saying.
sabotage?
That was dumb.
Stupid.
She would suck at Among Us. And
She'd be the one that like fully like stands there and kills someone in a room of like other people.
I do that sometimes. It's kind of fun.
Yeah,
But
but she would do it like thinking it was a good strategy.
oh yeah, no. But then like they're all down there, and she pulls out a gun or a blaster, and like is like, okay, get down, like blah 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 blah, and he's like, she's a rebel spy.
Yeah, it was so funny. Cassian's so silly.
Yes.
He's so silly.
So I love that little guy, but yeah, we watched that and I was like, oh, you're a little annoying. Why?
Yeah. But you know what? I like to think he gave her her haircut when they were on the ship.
Oh, nice.
Or maybe because she has her short
that
haircut
short?
in Rebels, but in Andor it's still longer.
It's a little longer.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I
definitely the
guess.
different haircut. She does not have bangs in
True.
Andor, and she does in Rebels. So maybe she was like in the bathroom, like crashing out, and she cut her hair. And then
Honestly,
Erskine had to fix it for her. That's what I
so
think.
me.
That's what I think happened. I think she like hacked her hair off, and Erskine was like, "Okay, let me fix it. Let me make it look okay."
Yes, perfect.
Erskine is the Yavin barber.
Seeing, like Mothma with Hera again, it just was amazing. And then just like her being able to actually interact with these people that are doing the work. Like not that she's not doing any work, but you know what I mean? Like actually out there fighting. Like with Cassian and now like Hera. And she's meeting all the cool ones, to be fair.
Yeah.
And it's just
she doesn't meet anyone else till later. Yeah, it was cool too. And I think that like she's definitely in Rebels like a bit more calmed down than she was at the end of that Andor episode. And I think it is, I mean, we see like, later, like, and I love Bail Organa. No shade against Bail Organa. I love the man dearly. Bail Organa's not at brunch with the soldiers, and I think the fact that she had her life saved, frankly, twice by people, in the rebellion who are the ones on the ground, through Cassian, and then she goes to Gold Squadron, and then she goes to the Ghost Crew. I think that experience, was, and like I said, she was always like someone who cared for everybody. She's always been a very compassionate character, but I think that experience was really, made her so much more appreciative of these people versus other leaders in the rebellion.
Which is interesting because with Bail, like you said, he's not like there.
Again, love Bail.
Yes, I love him too. It was also just like interesting because he like has these people to help Mothma, like help her escape, and Luthen's like, no, like Bail is like, he literally tells her like, Bail's okay, Bail's still good, but his team is compromised. And it wasn't on accident, but Mothma later is like, do you know these people? And he's like, no, I don't. That's better. Like, that's better that I don't know these people.
Which is
but
probably true, but also.
Yes, but it's also like this person that's one, like, first, your friend. Second, super important, like, senator. Third, like, gonna be a leader or you're trying to get her out so she can lead the rebellion, you would probably want someone you trust
Yeah.
to
I mean,
do
I
this.
think
Personally, I know
yeah.
what he was doing is definitely good and with good intention. I was just like,
Mhm.
Luthen definitely was like, hey, here's my good guy. I trust him. I love him. Here you go. He's gonna take care of
Mhm.
you.
Yeah. I mean, I think the challenge that Bale and Mon face that like and even Luthen face that like someone like Saw necessarily doesn't is like they have a public appearance to uphold
Yes.
too. So like Bale can't like if some like what if someone got a security footage of Bale talking to this guy who's later seen taking Mon from the Senate and shooting stormtroopers? You know what I mean?
Yes.
And especially with Bale, like he does like when he and Mon talk, and I love that talk that they had. I love their friendship. I
Mhm.
appreciate it more, especially after Mask of Fear, where they're not friends yet, really. Um, and I love their friendship. So good. Everyone read Leia, Princess of Alderaan. I love them. The dinner party scene in that book lives rent free in my mind. Um,
Is that the one where they say
where
like
they
they're
when Tarkin comes to join lunch, and
uh,
so Bale, Bray, and Mon like fake an affair between Bale and Mon to make him leave because he gets uncomfortable.
oh,
So funny. So funny. Everyone read Leia, Princess of Alderaan. But what was I even
there was
saying?
a
Oh, but Bale has the added complication of Leia. Like he has to protect Leia. Um, you know, and so it's interesting when they're talking and he's like, I can't leave the Senate. Like it's not time for that. Like I gotta. He has to uphold appearances. Not that Mon doesn't. Like she still has her family and stuff. But I think
less
the fact that he
lesser.
still has Leia, there's much more scrutiny to be worried about.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm trying to think. And then just Bix. Bix and Cassian.
Yeah, like I loved her ultimate sacrifice for the rebellion was that relationship. That was so good. Really well done. I do wish not to be that person. I wish she could have passed the Bechtel test in episode 7 through 9. And I think actually, I don't know if she ever did in
Pass the what?
season 2. The Bechtel test.
What's
The
that?
Bech Okay, the Bechtel test is a test created by a lesbian comic artist in the 90s, maybe 80s, and it's if a movie or show does not have two named female characters who talk to each other not about a man, that's if that happens, that they pass the Bechdel test. If that doesn't happen, they don't pass the Bechdel test. And a surprising amount of movies and shows do not pass that.
Wait, so
So two named female characters,
yes.
they have to talk to each other.
Uh-huh.
And they when they talk to each other, they're not talking about a man. They're talking about
Mm.
literally anything but a man.
Ah.
And
So it's individual. It's not like the show. It's like these individual characters.
it's generally about the show or movie. I'm talking about it in terms of just Bix.
Okay.
I don't think she
Does she even talk to
I don't think
another girl?
she talks to Vel, but they talk about Cassian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's fair. I definitely wish that we would have saw her fighting.
Yeah,
Like
and my
we
thing is
see,
like
like
I I don't even care about her fighting. Like I like I just felt like because she was the character. People seem to have forgotten this. She was the character in season 1. She was Luthen's contact. She was
Mhm.
one working with Luthen. Like Cassian had nothing to do with Luthen besides through her until episode 3.
Yeah.
And like, so people forget that like she was the one that was in on this. She's the one who like I loved in episode 6 when she's still recovering from all of these terrible things that's happened to her, and we get that awesome scene with Dr. Gorst. And I felt like, oh, this is setting up Bix too. And I think I talked about this in the podcast that I said I was really looking forward to Bix being a more proactive character.
Yeah.
And then she didn't really get to be that. And I don't even like I wouldn't even need her to go out and fight. I don't need her to be a Vel or a Cinta or a Clea. But like just like fix it. She's a mechanic. Let her fix stuff for the rebels. Let her talk
yeah.
about her beliefs. I was just kind of bummed. Like she's such she was a character I really loved in season 1, but like she was in season 1 especially, she was a character, especially towards the end, where so frequently she was a character that stuff happens to her and not a character that got to do things. And I was looking forward to like turning that around for her and her getting to make her choices. And we didn't really get that as much. I did like her ultimate choice being, you know, getting into the spiritual side of Star Wars, right? There's the Force healer, and Bix realizes like, oh, like Cassian has a destiny that I'm going to hold him back from. I need to step away. And she sacrifices her relationship for the rebellion. I thought that was so powerful and such a great choice for her. I just wish she'd been able to have an arc that wasn't just about Cassian before that too. Like obviously I'm not saying I didn't like the relationship. Like that's so important to both characters. I'm so glad it was included, and I thought it was really well done. I
But
just
there's
wish
definitely
there'd been
more than just
more
a
to her.
relationship.
Exactly,
for a
exactly.
woman.
And that's why I said like I wish that she had passed the Bechdel test,
Yeah.
because I can't remember if she talked to one of the farmer ladies in the first 3 episodes. I can't
She
remember.
did
I
not.
don't think she did.
No. She talked
And
to
then she
like
talked
the other guy,
Yeah, and then
but that's it. Not
she
another lady.
didn't really talk to anyone. I don't think she talked to a woman this whole season besides when she talked to Vel, and they talked about Cassian.
I mean, she talked to like the Force girl, but
She
like
did.
again, it was
Also
about
again about
Cassian.
Cassian. And I understand this is Cassian's show, and so obviously
But also, we had Cinta and Vel talk to each other like normal
Right.
people, you know?
Right. And so I just wish I wish she had been a bit more this season, because she's so cool. And again, I'm not saying it's like I need every female character to be, you know, a soldier necessarily. The same way I don't think every male character needs to be a soldier. I don't need Bail Organa to run in there with a gun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Each
But I just wish,
character is different.
yeah. And so I would have loved some more. And I think part of that does come from, and this is kind of what I was talking about way at the beginning when I was like, I think this is in some ways a little weaker than season 1. And I think part of it was those time skips. Like they had a 5-season show outlined. They decided to go with 2 instead. And I think, like, I'm sure if they had gotten 5 seasons or even just 3 seasons, we would have had more time for Bix in that way. This is an unfortunate side effect, and I'm not the qualified person to talk about this, but I'm kind of somewhat reiterating what other people have said. It's notable that the characters with strong arcs this season, Mon, Clea, and Daedra, the female characters with strong arcs, and even Vel is a bit of a stretch, but Mon and Clea are the white characters and the straight characters, versus Bix and Cinta don't really have their own arc this season. And that's pretty unfortunate.
I think Mana's open. I don't know.
Okay. Well,
no, I just
textually.
Yes. But no, that totally makes sense. I think like a lot of, and I was telling my dad, so I think it's great for you and my dad, but like I feel like this opens up a lot of opportunities for books, like especially through those years. I feel like
Agreed.
either there's gonna be a book a year, or they're just gonna have one book and it's like the entire, like all of it. I'm not sure.
I would love to see some books about these characters. I would also, Reign of the Empire is going to be a trilogy. Would love to see some of these characters pop up there as well, even though that those books are mostly about Mon, Bail, and Saw. Would love to see a bit of Luthen in there. Maybe some Cinta, because she works with him and stuff. But yeah, so a lot of books,
sense,
but also like within the show. And again, I'm not the qualifying person on this, but something a lot of people have also pointed out.
You got a podcast.
That doesn't.
We are like
podcast.
You know, women. To be fair.
But I'm about to talk about
points.
something else as well. But something, and again, not the listen to Black people about this. Don't just listen to me. But a lot of people pointed out Andor hasn't been great with Black characters either, and it hasn't really in season 1 either. Basically every Black character in season 1 is killed within 3 episodes of being introduced, or they're written off. Season 2, besides Saw, there's not really Black characters in season 2 that have things to do. Please don't get mad at me. I love Andor. It's so good. It's my favorite Star Wars show. But even I think Saw didn't have too much to do either in this show, because I think Luthen kind of stepped into the role Saw took on in like Andor as like the
Mhm.
person outside the rebellion whose methods are different and doesn't get along with like Bail or Mon all the time. And it's that leaves Saw, and Saw had some great scenes, like the scene with him and Wilman with the ride out, phenomenal, so good. But I think Saw was left with comparatively less to do than other characters.
Mhm.
And so I would say that would be my biggest criticism of Andor is um I don't even say like as an apparent lack of interest in the women of color, especially but darker skinned people of color
Mhm.
compared to the white characters,
Yeah.
and the lighter skinned characters, and
I mean,
especially men.
that's totally valid. I just I mean, and I've been saying this since forever. Like even with Star Wars in general, it's like they had like when Ray was a thing. That was awesome. Like because
Hmm.
we were like, "Oh, finally a woman," like, and it's like mostly her, like she's the main character. But then later it was like, "Okay, now we got Jin." Okay, and then like
Hmm.
it kept going where it was like females in Star Wars, amazing. But then it was just like white women.
Yes.
And then like I said this all the way back. And then we got Ahsoka, which was cool. Especially because like, it had an African American woman in it. It's just it just sucks that which one it was, but you know what? And like it's fine. Like we have one and it's great. With this one it's Cassian, and Cassian is Hispanic. Cassian's great, but he's also a man. So
Hmm.
it's like up and down
Yeah,
randomly.
and
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 then the other thing with Ahsoka is like it's not even her. It's like she's painted. She's an alien.
mhm.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, and all these characters are like great. All these actors and actresses have casted are great. Diego Luna's phenomenal. Felicity Jones, everybody's amazing. The problem is just like there are so many other people, and I think, and it's like I don't want to discredit the progress that's been made. Like, I mean, Andor, we have Verada Sethu is, I believe, the first South Asian woman to play a role this big in Star Wars. Her role in this season wasn't very big, but in season one, she was huge. Not huge, but she was pretty big. I mean, and speaking of Cinta, like she and Vel are the first on-screen like queer relationship, besides that one kiss in Rise of Skywalker. Um,
The
I
very
guess,
random one.
yeah. Well, and I guess you do have the shopkeepers in Resistance, but they didn't like it wasn't like as explicit. So it's you know what I mean.
Yes.
And Andor's very
An
diverse.
afterthought.
Um and so I don't want to discredit that. And I don't think anyone on the Andor production crew or at Lucasfilm set out to be like, let's kill all the black characters. Like I'm sure it was they wrote these parts that die, and that's just
My
how it
favorite
happened to go.
activity.
Right. So I don't want to discredit it or make it sound like I'm accusing anyone of malice, but I think it is a carelessness. Um, that is a problem,
Mhm.
and I want to give them their flowers for it. Like I don't want to just be like, oh, you
But
suck, but like
just
it's
2
also like
flowers, not a
just a
bouquet.
couple flowers. But it's like something I hope they consider and think about. And I think there are ways, like the Acolyte was an incredibly diverse show,
Mhm.
did kill a lot of people, but they killed everyone equally, so it's okay.
Everyone was killed.
Um, but it was also like the survivors were all, I think this like we're all people of color in that show except for Vernestra, who's green, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
I feel like
Um,
it's just like each show is definitely differently different. And it's not to say like, oh, every single show, like I feel like they're trying to get their foot in the door, but it's also
mhm.
like it's not that hard. Like hurry up. You can do it. Like you
Hurry up.
literally did it with Acolyte. Like let's just keep it
Yeah,
going. Let's keep
and
the
I mean,
ball
and I want
rolling.
to give flowers to Skeleton Crew as well. Um, we had two,
Mhm.
and also
A
giving opportunities to
bouquet.
young actors. A bouquet for Skeleton Crew, as always. Star Wars animation has always pushed the front lines. You talked about Ahsoka with Rosario Dawson. We also have Natasha Liu Bordizzo, who's an Asian woman playing
Mhm.
Sabine. And then you had Morgan Elsbeth, another Asian woman in that show. So it's like
I don't know
progress
how
is
you
being
remember
made.
all
But
these names. I can't.
you don't know Sabine?
No, I just know Sabine.
I said 2 names, and you're
I
like, I
know
don't know
these.
these names. I was like, you don't know
Yes,
Sabine?
no, I just no. I don't
um,
know people's names. I know Sabine, Ahsoka, Cassie. Oh, I know Diego Luna, but that's because he was in another movie I like.
okay.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah. So it's like it's a balance. Like, good job. We can continue to grow and do better.
Yes.
Um, and I think they will. But I think that's also like the important part. Like, I think some people, and I've seen a reaction when people are criticizing Andor for these things, and some people are like, "Well, you should just be grateful. You should just be grateful we got that kiss. You should be grateful we got this person in this show." And it's like, yeah, I can be grateful, but if we if no one offers critique of it, if no one points out the weaknesses, then they're not gonna do better. Like, they're not gonna.
You
And
know
I'm
what?
not
I
saying that
will
like I'm
say.
so important. I don't think anyone's listening to my podcast and then going to write their Star Wars show based on what I say. But like, as far as like a general
With credit
fandom
to
voice.
Zoe. No, yeah, I will say in this season, I'm glad that none of the Hispanics are spice runners. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Besides Bix, no one else is doing drugs.
Listen, those are sleeping pills.
Hers,
Like, we
yeah,
all we
no,
all
hers
take a
is a
little
little,
melatonin. We all take a little melatonin
uh,
here and then. That's basically what it was, right?
yeah. But besides that, no one else, like, no one is like classified as just like spice runner.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I was spice runner back in the day. Why? Why? Could you be anything else?
Yeah. That was not to revive discourse from 5 years ago. That was crazy.
But yes,
That was crazy. They're
anyway,
like,
so like stuff like
anyway.
that, we keep going, we keep trying to get better, and
Mhm.
Andor gets a flower, but these other two shows get bouquets.
Okay.
So if you
Yes.
like these ones, go like also like hype, and that's
Mhm.
what something my dad always says. So now I'm saying it, but like if you like something so much, we have to put a lot of effort into showing these like these companies that we like it. Like kept saying like, oh, I want to see like more queer and stuff. It's there. It's all in
Mhm.
comics. It's all in books. I just am lazy, but it is there for me. And if we
Absolutely.
show that we care about these things just like that, hopefully we can get more of it.
Yeah. I agree. And if you're someone looking for diversity in Star Wars, like you said, books and comics are where to go. It's Pride Month, so that means legally you have to read the 2020 Dr. Aphra run, or you will
Shout
be
out
shot and killed.
to the
Um,
gays.
um, but the High Republic, just all of it. If you're looking for diversity, there it is. There it is. There's the High Republic. I'm so serious right now.
Mhm.
Um, so it's there, and like you said, it's important to show support, and to talk about it and have these conversations.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my when I mentioned it way in the beginning. I was like, I think Andor season 2 doubled down on a bad saying it now. Now that I'm hearing myself say it, bad habit sounds dismissive. I don't mean it that way at all, but I think it doubled down on a tendency season 1 had in a not good way. So I don't know. As much as I love the show, I also, and I think it's also
We can still have critiques
the
about it.
fact that I love the show makes me critique it more. Like, if I had low expectations, if I was like on the show, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, yeah, that show did whatever. But it's because I love the show, and it's showed us that it can write really well. It can write these crazy compelling character arcs and do all this great character work. It's showed us that, and so that makes me expect more from it, and that makes me
Mhm.
critique it more because I love it so much, and because I think it's so good and has that ability.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. What else did we not talk about? Oh yeah, we talked about Bix leaving, and because that's how we got here. Was I
That
said
was
I
kind
wish
of
Bix passed the
okay.
Bechdel test.
That
I
was
will say
kind of funny.
I did like her
Her
breakup
message.
her
Mhm.
breakup Snapchat.
Yeah. I
I
thought it was a little funny because, like, it's Cassian and he's running and he's like,
Poor Cassian.
where is he? Where is she? Like, and he's like, I don't know. Everything would have left by now.
Yeah.
And then he's like crying and it's like
Mm.
so emotional. And they're like, hey, can you clock in really quick? We're waking up the K2 now. And
Oh yeah.
he's like wiping his tears. He's like, okay.
He misses his girlfriend or he loses a girl. Honestly, isn't that the breakup story? You break up, your girlfriend breaks up with you, so you get like a pet, right?
Yeah,
That's what he
I
did.
think
Not that
so.
K2's a pet. K2, please don't come for me. You're not a pet. You're a best friend.
Okay, but K2's horrifying. Like again, here's the thing. Like the Empire and like the enemies will always create these insane, like monstrous things, and they're horrifying. It's amazing, but then they don't realize like that those things can be turned against them.
Mm-hmm.
And like later, like they wake up K2, like it's cute scenes where they're like,
I love
gambling with
I
him
love when
and
they're
like
playing cards. It's so
just
cute. I
trying to
also
droid
love
you, like stuff like that.
I love the Cassie and Melshi best friendism.
Yes.
Because that was like a fandom thing for a while when Rogue One came out. Because like in Rogue One, all Melshi does is get hit by a shovel by Jin, and then he goes to Scarif, and then he dies. He dies in Scarif, and that's like all he does in that movie, basically.
Yeah, they're like
But
BFFs.
there was like this whole fandom thing. Like some people were shipping them, but a lot of people were like,
Interesting.
Cassian and Melshi besties. They share bunks together. And Yavin, they're just like they're best friends.
Well,
Um, they were roommates.
yes.
And then Rogue One or Andor was like, yeah, they are best friends. They are besties. They play cards in Cassian's little house. I also liked the little houses on Yavin.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it does make me wonder, like, gosh, how many of those are there? There's a lot of people on that
Mm-hmm.
base, but it's also nice because, like, I think it's a really great dichotomy from the Empire to the Rebellion. Like you were talking about it earlier with how the Rebellion handles Cassian disobeying orders but getting good results versus Daedra. But also like, and we see this in Rebels with Callus especially. But it's like in the Empire, like they're stashing these bunks. They don't really, they're not allowed to customize it. Like it's just like Rose. It's all about efficiency. Versus the Rebellion, it's like, yeah, you have the Ghost Crew living on their ship that they paint and have fun on, and they have family dinners. And then you have like these people in all their little like cool little yurts with like these like house plants and kitchens and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Yavin yurts. I love them. Also, I wonder if because we know Poe was raised on Yavin, because Yavin became like a lot of like ex rebels like lived there after the war, and so I wonder if he lived in a yurt.
That'd be cute.
I always pictured it as more of a house, but maybe it was like a yurt.
That'd be cute. Yeah, no, I loved Cassian's house, but it was sad because it was like, before he
When he
goes
waters
off,
his plants before
yeah,
leaving to Rogue One, that was sick and twisted. That was sick and twisted. It is also crazy though when you think because like I said, I watched Andor finale, Rogue One, A New Hope, which I had never done. I know a lot of people have done this a bunch of times. I had never actually done Rogue One straight to A New Hope. I'd done them with like a day or a week between, but never like back to back like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was really fun. I highly recommend it, especially because I was laughing during the opening scene of A New Hope because like that door and there's the sparks and everything. And then the stormtroopers come through. And I was like, oh my gosh, every single one of those rebel soldiers was like thanking the force that it wasn't Darth Vader that came through those doors because it was right after. Anyway, oh yeah, but it was like because in A New Hope, and this isn't a criticism of New Hope. A New Hope was a sacred text, I understand. But in A New Hope, when they're flying to Yavin and Han, I think it's like Han was like, how they let us get away so easily? And Leia goes, they're tracking us. Time to go to Yavin. And so after Andor and Rogue One, I'm like, girl, what? Don't go to Yavin. Don't go to Yavin. I mean, it was an emergency. They had the Death Star plans and stuff, but I was like, girl, they had to leave all the yurts behind, Lizzie.
Yurts.
They had to go to Hoth. Hoth is too cold for a yurt. You'll get snow in it.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Yavin yurts.
Rest in peace, his plants, bro.
Yeah. It is crazy to think because, like, if I don't know if everybody had a yurt, that'd be a lot of land to take up. I mean, maybe. I mean, I'm sure some people shared, right? Like roommates and stuff. Um, but like, you think of how many people died on Scarif, whether in the space or on the planet. It's like how many, like how, like when they were packing up Yavin, how much stuff did they just leave because it didn't belong to anyone anymore? You know,
Mm-hmm.
like Cassian, Melshi, and K2, presumably the only people living in his. I mean, we don't know if Melshi lived there. I like to think he lived there. They're roomies.
Yes.
Um, but like,
Like, my girlfriend's gone. Come
assuming
over.
my girlfriend's gone, it's bro hours. I gotta bro out. um, but like they just probably left it. Like they had to pack up important stuff. No one's like, oh, let's go grab Cassian's houseplants. It's so sad. So sad.
Oh.
The yurts. Yeah. Oh, K2 was really great. I love K2. He's so silly.
Yeah, he's horrifying.
He's
Like,
silly and horrifying. I love when the Imperial guy was like, "Oh, are you with us?" And K2 goes, "No."
no.
Smack.
I just thought it was horrifying that he was like holding up a dead body
Yeah.
for cover.
That guy deserved it.
No, totally. He did. I was annoyed with him from the beginning, but I was like, okay.
Yeah,
Still
that was crazy.
fun.
That was a crazy scene. Yeah, K2's busted.
Yeah.
Yeah. It also makes you appreciate, I don't know, like I watched Rogue One, he slammed Jin down on the ground. Like
Yeah.
you can't do that, man. You're gonna break her spine. He's so
I mean, it was
strong.
like in like on Gorman when it was all of these ones, like that was horrifying. They don't even need all of them. They need one.
No,
But
they
they were
didn't.
just throwing people. Like that poor girl, like her bones just broken.
Oh my god. Yeah, it was crazy.
And I was
And
like,
that
she can survive. It's just a fall. No,
Yeah.
she was dead.
and that's something Andor does so differently than the rest of Star Wars too, because it's and everything else in Star Wars essentially is more of like a space fantasy, where Rogue One's more space like drama. Because like I don't know, I'm thinking because I saw Revenge of the Sith in theaters when it was released, like oh gosh, like last month, 2 months ago. Dooku drops a metal platform onto Obi-Wan's hips, and he's like fine. Like like after he wakes up, he just like walks around. He goes and fights Grievous. Versus like the first scene of Andor, that like that one guy falls too hard and he dies. So it's very different.
Horrifying. Scary.
We were talking about Claire earlier. I'm just trying to think of other things we haven't talked about. I really loved because Claire she was like scared to go to Yavin. She was like, like she kind of, because like Luthen was clearly very paranoid about Yavin. Like she was like, they're not gonna trust me. They're gonna throw me in rebel jail. Like, did not want to go. And then finally, Cassian basically drags her to Yavin. Then she gets there, and everyone's very nice to her. And like Vel finds her in the rain and like gives her her jacket, and it's a very sweet scene. And Clay gets to like see, what she and Luthen had been working towards. She gets to see, because like Clea was the communicator, but we don't get the sense that she was meeting with people outside of Coruscant. Like she wasn't seeing the rebel cells. She wasn't like Luthen went to Eldani, talked to Vel. Clea never did that. She never saw like with her own eyes the fruits of her labor. And so it was a really, really great moment when she got to see that, when the sun rose over Yavin and she saw all these people working, many of which she probably recruited either directly or indirectly, working together. They have ships, they have equipment, they have resources, and like they're gonna do this. They're gonna bring this fight. They're gonna have an all-out war. And I thought that was like a really, really great moment. I think in general, the last two episodes, especially the last episode, was the last episode was a bit slower. It was much focused on like the characters and like settling in, but also getting ready. and preparing for what's to come. And it was just a bit slower. And I really appreciate it. I really liked slowing down and like seeing who these people are and their commitment and what they're ready to do.
It just made me extra sad. I don't know.
Yeah, my only thing is now I'm like, so do you think Val and Willman went to Scarif?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
I mean, obviously Rogue One was made before Andor, so that's why you don't see them in Rogue One. But I feel like Willman would have easily.
Well, he hurt his leg, no? Technically.
It's fine now. It's fine now. He's walking around.
I feel like they would have said something. I feel like they would have I don't know. I feel like we would have not that we would have been told directly, but I don't think so. I feel like with the characters that we know are gonna be there. But I feel like Willman and Vel are not. I don't know. That's just what I think. It could be wrong, but
yeah. I mean, something it's. I feel like it's not because obviously it didn't happen yet at the end of the show. Because it's something I feel like would be in character for those two if they were on Yavin at the time to go to Scarif when Cassian called. Definitely Willman.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I just wonder if we'll ever get an answer. If it will be vague forever. I hope it's not. I hope they don't. These characters at least Vel. I would love to see Vel. I would love to see Vel in a warm coat on Hoth. I would love to see Cinta in a warm coat on Hoth.
Snuggling together. Yeah, rest in peace.
Verada Sethu. Yeah. I will support you in all your future endeavors. You were so good, Acinta.
Mm-hmm.
Did we miss anything? What else? What else happened in Andor? What we didn't talk about was the last shot.
The last shot?
Mm-hmm.
With Perrin or
with the baby?
Oh, I was like,
we can talk about Perrin too.
I don't think we need to.
He was with his mother or his daughter's mother-in-law. That is a messy man. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, that's gross.
Messy man.
She's not even as cool as Mothma.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that was weird. I didn't like that. But yeah, the baby. I'm honestly guessing his name is Cassian. I'm done. That's the end of that.
Well, here's the thing: is like when because it's a year later, so she would have had the baby before Rogue One. Like, I mean, I guess she could. I guess people name their kids after themselves or their husbands.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm assuming.
Is he Cassian Jr.? I don't know if I love that.
I would have named it Cassian personally. If I was in this loving relationship with this guy for years and then I left him, also had a baby with him, but didn't have him know, I think I would have named him Cassian.
Okay.
Or like the other guy who died.
Brasso. Brasso. It could be little Brasso. Or maybe it's a girl. Have you considered that? It could be Marva.
Yeah.
Baby Marva. I hope it's a girl. Everyone has a son in Star Wars.
I want it to be a boy.
Everyone has a son. Everyone has a boy. Hera's a boy. Leia's a boy. Let's have a girl. Let's have one. For feminism.
There's so many father-daughter stuff, but
yeah,
I guess
not
like
every time. But I'm talking about like when a woman has a baby in Star Wars. It's a boy.
I feel like that is.
Hera is a boy.
I think women have babies.
I'm just saying, like, when it's a pre-established character who goes on to have a baby, not like a character's mom, like a already existing character who has a mom.
Because I'm talking like a preference. I'm just saying
we got
to name.
There's so many boys. Let's mix it up. Let's have a girl.
I think it really matters. But yeah, maybe it would be Marva then.
Or it could just be a different name. Because she could just know a different name.
That's so lame, though. You have
Is
all
it?
the, especially with all these. I mean, if I was in a war and I lost so many people I knew and loved, like,
Well, what if her name is like Hope?
lame.
Okay.
I don't know. That would be cool, but if I don't know if they're ever gonna name or the baby, like tell us at least.
Yeah. If it's gonna
But
be a
it'd be
character or
cute.
not.
Just or maybe it's just the amount of possibilities, that could happen is just.
Yeah. I will say it's not Poe Dameron. Everyone on the internet, stop saying it's
Oh my
Poe
God.
Dameron. He has parents. He has there can be more than one Latino family in Star Wars.
No,
Poe
no.
has parents. Do not do this to Cass and Shara, okay?
The
Poe
one
has
guy that
parents.
has parents that are alive for the most part.
Poe has parents. Please. Please.
Even I know that, and I didn't read a book or comic.
Stop saying that's Poe. Please. You're killing me.
But yeah, I think that was cute. I also feel like that was definitely a big reason why she left.
I hope it
Obviously.
wasn't though. I hope it was. I hope she didn't know she was pregnant. I hope it was. I like because when the episode came out, I liked her choice being about the rebellion. I feel like it's cheaper if it's like, oh, and also she's pregnant. You know what I mean? I like when it was a choice for the rebellion and that was it.
I guess.
I don't know. I also didn't like the baby. I thought it was a little cheap and
Oh.
cliche. I'm gonna be honest.
My
It was
thing
just,
is,
I was just kind of like, oh, of course, like sure. That's my hot take. When like they showed her holding a baby, I was like, oh yeah, of course. We got like it was just cliche.
Oh well,
That's what I thought.
It.
I'm sure
I
a
just
lot
thought
of
it
people
was-
did. I'm the weird
Well,
one.
No, you're not weird. I liked it because I mean it's definitely like it's not icky, but it is definitely cliche after the conversation we just had. But also it's like I like it because it just like Cassian's dead, and like that's kind of to like for all of us it was just that she's just dead and that's it. But now he's dead and he has a little something that can
But
carry on. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't like that though. Like I feel like I mean, because like kids aren't their parents,
Yeah.
And I know like in storytelling it's different. But I just it's not a trope I love. I liked it when they did it with Hera, because I think her arc was about like family and learning how to make time for herself and the people she loved. But in general, it's not a trope I love. Because I just feel like a kid isn't their parent. Like, and I think like another like making another person and being like, see, he lives on. It's like, no, he doesn't. He's dead, and this is a separate person. This is a different person that we have here.
So in a lot of Hispanic culture, it kind of just is that though, and I don't know how to explain it. Like we live by these expectations from our parents, and that's like all the sacrifice. It's this is like it's not like to say like, oh, this is why or anything, but from what I got from it was definitely kind of like in a lot of Hispanic families in general. And again, I don't know if this is like it, but from my experiences as a Hispanic person, it's like this story was definitely not like, oh, it's about family, but it is also like the expectations and sacrifices of the things our parents did, and even not as a parent but as him as a person, the sacrifices and things that he's done. I like it just because like it's I don't know, it's cool like whether your parents are alive or not alive, it's just like something cool, something that we look up to on our own parents, whether we get to see this kid grow up or not. I don't know. I just kind of liked it from that because it's like, um, Bix has this kid. Whether Bix had the kid or not, I would have liked anyway. Just seeing her go back to that planet was cool. Especially B2.
I did
But
love seeing B2 again.
yeah. Oh my god. But like I don't know, that's kind of what I was seeing from it. Just like the whole thing is that they this is horrible, but like Hispanics have these kids and have a bunch of kids because they want the line to keep going. They want people to carry on their legacy or like do this and do that. And I don't think that's that, but like I don't know, that's something that I thought of when I was watching it, and I was like, oh, that's cute. Like now he has a kid, and like the line could keep going. Whether he knows his parents or not, he knows, like, or she, like they just, it just keeps going. There's no end to it. But that's just from personal
No, I get
experience.
that.
I don't think it was that though.
Well, I mean, I think that's somewhat of the intention is like, oh, Cassian gets to live on through the kid, and it's I don't know. I don't like it as a trope. I don't know. And I get what you're saying.
Very
I
fair.
I don't know.
No, it's fair.
And I feel like it's overdone personally, but that's just me.
Hey, it's still going. It still happens IRL. It's all the time.
No, yeah, and I mean, and like, and I don't hate. I don't sound like I hate this baby. Like it's like
kill the baby.
I'm not saying it's like, oh, this is like because I don't want to say like, oh, like this ruined the show, is the worst ending ever. I was just kind of like, oh, sure, of course they do this. You know what I mean? And because it's not Andor's not a show I find cliche. So when they did a cliche, I guess they're allowed one cliche. I guess
singular, a little baby.
But
one.
I was like,
no, but like after talking about what we talked about before, like just about how it was mostly just her, like for Cassian. No, that definitely like makes sense. Like I completely understand.
I think that's part of why it bugged me a bit too. Like because I talked about how I liked it with Hera, and I think the difference with Hera is like it was part of her arc, but also Hera had a whole arc throughout the entire show with her relationship to Kanan, but also totally outside of it, and about her as a person.
She talked to Mon Mothma, not about Kanan.
Yes. Well, dude, Rebels smashed the Bechdel test. Anytime Hera and Sabine talk, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like I think like Hera, and I think I would have been much softer on the baby if Bix got to be her own person, and then also she had a baby, versus this season where she was Cassian's like stay-at-home wife in the last couple episodes. Like they're on a military base, and she's like, "Oh, here, Cassian, have some tea. Let me water
dinner.
I
cleaned the apartment."
You know? When that wasn't really who her character was in season 1, she was she owned a mechanics shop, and so then it was like that, and then it was like, oh, again, like she didn't have her own arc, so it's like, oh, so now she's like a vessel for Cassian's lineage in a sense, and that you know what I mean.
That's the arc for her this season was depressed, schizophrenic, killed the guy, and then stay-at-home wife. Done.
Yeah, like and it all revolved around Cassian.
I wish she did go on missions, or she did just fix things around, or hung out with
talk to a woman about something that's not Cassian.
Man, my plants, they're growing so big.
Like in episodes 7 through 9, I don't think she talked. Every conversation she had was either with or about Cassian. Like I don't think even when she talked to a man, it was about not Cassian. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I think that was part of it.
The other conversation she had was like with Wilman, and it was like about Wilman's girlfriend.
Yeah,
in the first like episode or 2 episodes or something.
Yeah, so like I think that was part of it too. Why I didn't love the baby. I was just, I don't know. Again, it wasn't. I want to make it sound like I hated it, and I was like so bad. It was
that's valid.
It was like an eye roll for me. That's what I think. I was like, okay. But yeah, maybe we'll see that baby. Maybe we won't. I don't really need the baby to be a character personally. You know, maybe she will turn up.
No, that's very valid. That's what I kind of got.
Yeah. No, and I appreciate your perspective as well, for sure.
Yeah, because like I don't want to say like this is horrible. This is horrible. And that's not what I mean.
Great
But
preface.
sometimes it's a lot of the reason why and it doesn't have to be just Hispanic families, but it's a lot of the reason of why they have kids is to keep the lineage going and like to put all these things on the kid. But also for this one, I think it had to have been a surprise. It's also like so sad that even though they were broken up, she didn't really reach out.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the other thing is that before Cassian even goes on his mission, Vel comes up to him and is like, you should reach out to Bix.
Yeah, so I wonder if Vel knew.
I think her and Vel talked. But that's the other thing is they talked about Cassian, most likely.
Yeah.
So I think Vel knew, and I think Cinta, I think Bix like told her and was like keeping her kind of updated, like I'm safe, I'm here, I have a baby now. And I think that's why Vel is like, hey, you should like don't stick around, don't wait too long.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it definitely adds a sadness to Cassian and his story. It was a layer I don't know if we needed. Like, it would be sad enough if she was there waiting for him. It's sad. I mean, even before Bix, Rogue One was still sad, you know?
Yes.
But I appreciate your perspective.
Yes.
I hate to be the downer. I'm just
no, it's valid. I mean, I also agree with it. So, but yeah, I did just like seeing Bix there though.
Yeah, I do. I will say,
too.
as beautiful and pastoral as Mina Rao is, I would love, and not that I can headcanon this. I don't need them to show me in something. I would love for her to return to Ferrix after the war and after it's safe. Only because Adria Arjona did a interview where she said Bix is the most Phyrexian woman out there, and she misses her home, and she has to find identity away from home. And I was like, you're so right. I really hope she goes back home because she is the most Phyrexian woman out there. And I don't want to abandon Ferrix because it was so nice. It was so cool in season 1.
Yeah. B2 chasing
and B2
and
had
with the other
besties.
Yeah.
Love B2 and his besties. I'm glad he's okay. I'm so glad he's
every
okay.
time I think about B2, I get so sad. And the thing that just like plays in my head is Cassian. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't even need the baby. Just like have Bix carrying B2 walking out.
He's probably so heavy.
Nah, she's strong. She's big strong.
She is strong. She's a mechanic.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think we covered Andor. I think we did.
So.
Yeah. All right. Now's the time for the plugs. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to us talk about Andor for, oh my gosh, almost 2 hours. That's crazy.
To be fair, it was all the episodes.
It was 6 episodes, yes. But thank you so much. Let us know if we missed anything you wanted us to talk about. We will talk about Tales of the Underworld soon. It was too much Star Wars, and there's a lot happening in the real world that we had to navigate.
Yeah.
But we're gonna talk about Tales of the Underworld, I promise. So let us know if we missed anything you wanted us to talk about. Whoa, my computer's doing something crazy. Make sure to go to starwarsgeek.com. We have a little contact form. So let us know where to find Mon Mothma clothes. Also, let us know what we should talk about on starwarsgeek.com. You can also fill out our poll. Our poll this month is to... I literally just made this poll 3 days ago. Why am I blanking on what it is? Oh my god, why can I not remember? I made it. I made it, you guys. I made it. Oh, it's for what your favorite arc of Andor was. That's right. I knew it was Andor related. So go on starwarsgeek.com and vote for your favorite arc in Andor. And also go to our blog and look at all the cool things that I write. I'm almost done writing my Wayseeker review. I was procrastinating on it. I don't have a good excuse. I was just procrastinating. But I'm going to post that, I promise. You can subscribe to the blog on the blog page to get new blog post notifications. If you don't want that many emails, you can also just go on the homepage and subscribe to our newsletter for just once a month newsletter. And then make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky at SW Geek Girl, and then on Facebook as Star Wars Geek Girl. If you're looking for me, just me, I'm on Instagram and TikTok at Zoika, and Twitter and Blue Sky. Or no, Instagram and TikTok at Spectre5, Twitter and Blue Sky at Zoika.
And then you got the Rogue Rebels. You got Lightsaber Academy on Star Wars Kids, where my dad is a Jedi. So that's cool. It's not Voss, but he is a Jedi, so still really cool. Got the RogueRebels.com, Instagram and TikTok at the Rogue Rebels, Twitch at Rogue Rebels. You can listen to the Rogue Rebels wherever you're listening to Star Wars Geek Girl. Facebook page, the Rogue Rebels, Blue Sky at the Rogue Rebels fam. Yippee.
Thank you so much for listening to our podcast about the show, full name Cassian Jaren Andor. And we will talk about Tales of the Underworld soon. And I don't know if we have too much other Star Wars outside of books coming up soon. We have High Republic finishing this month. I'm very excited for. In August, we have Bad Batch book. We have Visions sometime this year. I don't think they have a release date for that. So we still have Star Wars. I'm also almost caught up in my Star Wars comics, and that's really fun. I'm almost. So that's cool too. But thank you for listening to Star Wars Geek Girl. I was Zoe.
I was Lizzie.
May the Force be with you, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Why are you doing this? Stop moving the window. Just end the recording.